Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walah wa ba'd. All praise due to Allah and His praise and blessings and peace be upon our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wasallam, his family, his companions and his followers until the day of judgment. I bear witness that Allah is the only one worthy of worship and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam his last and final messenger. Today we will continue our Tafseer explanation and commentary on the Surah Al-Kahf, and we are in verse number 71. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فانطلقا حتى إذا ركبا في السفينة خرقها قال أخرقتها لتغرق أهلها لقد جئت شيئا إمرا قال ألم أقل إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا قال لا تؤاخذني بما نسيت ولا ترهقني من أمري عسرا فانطلقا حتى إذا لقيا غلاما فقتله قال أقتلت نفسا زكية بغير نفس لقد جئت شيئا نكرا قال ألم أقل لك إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا قال إن سألتك عن شيء بعدها فلا تصاحبني قد بلغت من لدني عذرا فانطلقا حتى إذا أتيا أهل قرية استطعما أهلها فأبوا أن يضيفوهما فوجدا فيها جدارا يريد أن ينقض فأقامه قال لو شئت لاتخذت عليه أجرا قال هذا فراق بيني وبينك سأنبئك بتأويل ما لم تسطع عليه صبرا. Usually we have someone read the translation. Anyone would like to read? Has it ready? Okay, go on.
So they moved ahead until when they boarded a boat, he sliced it by removing one of its planks. He, Musa alayhi salam, said, "Did you slice it to drown its people? In fact, you have done a terrible act." He said, "Did I not say that you can never bear with me patiently?" He, Musa alayhi salam, said, "Do not hold me punishable for what I forgot. Do not make my course too difficult for me." So they moved ahead until when they met a boy, and he killed him. He said, Did you kill an innocent soul while he did not kill anyone? You have committed a heinous act indeed. He said, "Did I not tell you that you could never bear with me patiently?" He, Musa alayhi salam, said, "If I ask you about something after this, do not allow me your company. You have now reached a point where you have a valid excuse to part with me from my own side." Then they moved ahead until they came to the people of a town. They asked its people for food, and they refused to host them. Then they found their wall tending to fall down. So he set it right. And he, Musa alayhi salam, said, "If you wished, you could have charged a fee for this." And he said, "Here is the point of parting ways between me and you. I shall now explain to you the reality of things about which you could not remain patient."
Very good. So last class we talked about how Musa alayhi salam was on journey with his servant Yusha ibn Nun, who was a young boy who took him with him, and later on Yusha ibn Nun became a prophet from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anyway, from now on this young man Yusha ibn Nun will never be mentioned in the story. You would never hear anything about him, and the reason for that because there is nothing really related to him. Did he leave them? Did he join them in the journey? Both possibilities are basically could be. Could be he was with them, but Allah didn't mention anything about him because he's irrelevant into the story. And that's Al-Quran, as many times I keep saying. Al-Quran is not a history book. It's a book of guidance. So it only focuses on the thing that guide us. Okay, not the detailed description of everything happened. Then Allah, after Musa alayhi salam traveled this long distance far away where the two seas meet each other, and they lost the fish that it was with them, and it became a very unique thing. A fish come back to life after some of the narration, they ate part of it, jump out, come back to life, jump out of the container, walk itself through the mud to the sea. And he said, that's it. He looked everywhere and he found Al-Khadr somewhere next to a rock, sitting. Then he knew at that time that this is the man that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered him to go and to be basically in his company. Anybody remember why Al-Khadr actually took this journey? Why Al-Khadr was why Musa took this journey? Why Musa was looking for Al-Khadr first of all? Anybody remember? Yeah, Musa said that he is the most knowledgeable person. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, no, you're not. There is someone from my servant who have more knowledge than you. Then immediately he didn't say, when Musa alayhi salam was arrogant, when he said, I am the most knowledgeable person. Bear with me. If Musa alayhi salam was arrogant when he said that statement, what would be his reaction when he was told there is someone who has more knowledge than you? He would say what? Who cares? No way. بالضبط. No way. Who cares? That's right. That's an arrogant person's attitude. But he didn't. He didn't, Ya Rab, show me, I will go be his servant. Ya Rab, show me so I will go learn from him. So the statement that he said that I'm most knowledgeable didn't come out of arrogant حاشا وكلا للأنبياء عليهم أفضل الصلاة والسلام. The Anbiya, maqamuhum, their honor and their status is free from having such evil qualities. So he went immediately and he basically took this long journey to meet this man. And when he met him and they get to know him, he gave him a condition. He said, if you would go with me, he said, I don't think you have patience for it. He said, no, don't worry, you will find me a very patient person with you. He said, how can you have patience about something that you have no knowledge of? He said, no worry, I will be patient. Then he said, if this is the case, you cannot ask me any question about anything I do unless I tell you why I did that. I explain the reason for you. Deal? They said a deal. Then the Quran said immediately, فَانْطَلَقَا فَعْلِ التَّعْقِيب. It means immediately the journey starts. And al-intilaq means what? He translates intalaqa. So they set out. Okay? Al-intilaq is the opposite of al-qaid, which is holding. So basically they were set out. They will basically move quickly. And the hadith explain a little bit of details of the story. The Prophet ﷺ said, so they both start walking beside the shore of the sea. They have no ship. Then a ship passed by them. They waved to them and they asked them if they could join them and let them carry them from one side to the other. Okay? The people of the ship immediately recognize Al-Khadr. And they know how noble, righteous person he is. فَحَمَلُوهُم مِّن غَيْرِ نَوَالٍ. They said, we will carry you free. We don't want from you any money. Even though this is like hiring, ferry, like a ferry. You pay a fee for that. They said, no, we know Al-Khadr and we will give you free ride. Then when they got into their ship, Musa alayhi salam and Al-Khadr saw a bird. You know how whenever you have a boat, always there's bird comes, that's right? So this bird come, فَنَقَرَ نَقْرَةً أَوْ نَقْرَتَيْنِ فِي الْبَحْرِ. He dipped his basically peak inside the water once or twice. Then Al-Khadr looked at Musa and he said, careful, the message that Al-Khadr sending. He said to him, مَا نَقَصَ مِنْ عِلْمِي وَعِلْمُكَ فِي عِلْمِ اللَّهِ. That if you compare the knowledge that you have and I have, both of us together, to the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it will be exactly like the amount of water that stuck to the beak of the bird when it dipped its beak in the side of the water. So when you dip the inside the water, it come out. How much the ocean will lose, or how much the sea will lose? Nothing, no comparison. He said that's how it is. Then, in a little bit, Al-Khadr went to one of the boards in the ship, or he removed one of them out. He made a hole in it. Then Musa alayhi salam immediately said to him, he was very furious. Why would he do that? And he said to him, have you turned it open to drown its people? شوف الملحظ الجميل. He said, you made this hole in the ship so the people will drown. Musa alayhi salam was worried about the people, not himself, not Al-Khadr. He was worried about those people who have done good to us, then you cause them to die. You cause them to, maybe me and you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect us. But what about them? فَكَانْ يَخْشَى عَلَيْهِمْ. He said, لِتُغْرِقَ أَهْلَهَا. And that's the ulama يقولون استفهام استنكاري. He objecting to what he did. Why? Because what he did is إمرا. يعني إمرا قال مجاهد منكرا, evil deed. وقال قتادة, one of the other scholars of the Tabi'in said, قال إمرا عجبا. So strange. Why would you do that to people, carry you for free, and offer and treated you well, and you know that they might drown because when you make this hole, the water keep coming, and somehow at one point the ship will sink. Even if it doesn't sink now, later on it will sink. So that's why he was very furious and very surprised by what Al-Khadr did. But again, you remember the condition. He's not supposed to ask. And he told him immediately, I told you will not be patient with me. Then he said, don't hold me accountable for what I have done unintentionally, or like I forgot. Basically, he said, do not blame me for what I forgot, and do not cover me in my matter with difficulty. So here he forgot the promise that is basically he made to Al-Khadr alayhi salam. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كانت الأولى من موسى نسيانا. He sincerely forgot. The first time he objected, he sincerely forgot. قال ابن عباس رضي الله عنه that. He said, don't hold me accountable for what I forgot, okay? Because if I did this intentionally while I'm aware of it, you may be holding me accountable for it, but since I forgot, we excuse those who forgot things. And that's a very good lessons we learn from this. If somebody says, sorry, I forgot. That's an excuse. That's a valid excuse for someone who would say that to you. Anyway, he said, don't blame me for what I forgot. Listen carefully. For what I forgot. Did he use forgetting as an excuse? Answer my question. If he did, why would he say, don't blame me? Or he said, لا تؤاخذني, don't punish me. Blame maybe not the best way. He said, لا تؤاخذ, don't hold me accountable. I'll say my question again. Did he use forgotten, for nisyan, as an excuse? No, actually. He asked forgiveness from him. If he used forgetting as excuse, he said to him, hey, I forgot. You have no right to hold me accountable for it. So he admitted that he made a mistake. But he's saying that I forgot, So please don't punish me for what I forgot about. يعني عدم المؤاخذة بالنسيان وليس الاعتذار بالنسيان. As if he say, I deserve to be departed, you depart from me. I deserve that because I break the condition. But I want you to forgive me. Even though forgetting is not, you made a condition and you forgot, that's my problem. But I'm asking you to forgive me. And I'm saying this because sometimes, people say, I forgot. And they don't feel any sense of responsibility. You tell, for example, I tell Muhammad, please prepare for the class and bring, for example, the microphone. Then he come to me and he said, I forgot. And he doesn't feel any sense of guilt. That means he taking the forgetting as an excuse in itself, and he feel that he's free from responsibility. But that's not what Musa is saying. He said, you have the right to be angry, you have the right to leave me, but I ask you to forgive me because I sincerely forgot. هذا غاية في الإبداع في الأدب. That's a very, very that is a very unique way of saying sorry. Admitting your mistakes first before you put your excuses. So whenever you make a mistake with someone, before you make your excuse, ask for forgiveness. Ask for the person to burden you for the mistake that you've done. Then they set up, they keep continuing going. But this time was strange. What happened next is unbelievable. What happened next, and the Quran, when it says, then they went together, it means what? It gives you an indication that what? That Al-Khadr already accepted his apology and forgive him. That's right. But the Quran doesn't dwell on the details. So they keep going. And he passed by a young boy. And we will see there is a debate over this. Was he a young boy, didn't reach the age of puberty or not? And الصحيح من أقوال المفسرين, the strongest opinion among the mufassirin, that he didn't reach the age of puberty yet. He was just a young boy. Because the word ghulam, ghulam in Arabic language, usually, most of the time, تعطى لغير البالغ العاقل, referred to a child. Okay? And the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, فلو أنه أدرك, يعني أدرك البلوغ, أرهقهما طغيانا وكفرا. If he reached the age of puberty, the Prophet ﷺ said, he would cause great deal of kufr and hardship to his parents. Reported by Muslim. And في البخاري ومسلم فانطلق فإذا غلام يلعب مع الغلمان. In al-Bukhari or Muslim, he found a boy playing with boys. That gives you an indication they're playing in the street. He's not an adult. Okay, so all these indication that shows you that this young boy didn't reach the age of puberty yet. But there is other opinion reported by Ibn Abbas radiallahu anh. No, he was an adult. He was actually a young man. And Al-Khadr came and he basically struck him and killed him. قال ابن عباس هو كان رجل يقطع الطريق. He was a highway robbery. He was a person who used to rob people while they're traveling. And he used to cause terror in the village. And he used to be like what we call today a gang member who hurt people. And Al-Khadr came and he killed him. وأما الغلام فكان كافرا. And Nabi ﷺ said, because the Prophet ﷺ said he was a kafir, those who took that opinion that he's an adult said, you cannot tell a boy a kafir or a believer. That's right. So this description this title as a kafir means it is an adult. That's what led some of the ulama to say that. And al-Arab sometimes prefer to refer to a ghulam, the word ghulam, as an adult, as a person who reached the age of puberty and young man. شفاها من الداء العضال الذي بها غلام إذا هز القناة سقاها. This is in the famous poetry في شعر ليلى الأخيلية. غلام إذا هز القناة سقاها. يعني a person when he shake his spear, okay, he will quench the spear thirst of blood. It's a very metaphor talk, like his spear is so thirsty for blood, so when he shake it, he will quench its thirst, because he will immediately basically use it to kill someone and use the spear in the most effective way. Anyway, Al-Khadr, he came to this, regardless as young man or adult, he came, and the narrations give you different detailed descriptions. It's a little bit graphic and aggressive descriptions. One of them, he said, he basically pulled his heads off, like cut his head off. قال اقتلع رأسه. And in another narration, in another narration, حز رأسه. He slaughtered him, basically chop his head off. Okay? And another narration, فرضخ رأسه بحجر. He hit him with a big rock. Some of the ulama said he hit him first, then he basically cut it off, then he carried it away, and he threw it away. Said it's very, very aggressive. Why? That's what Al-Qurtubi said. Maybe these three narrations just describing the stages. That's no doubt. Let's see how aggressive the killing in itself is so aggressive. That's right, so terrifying. Yani killing just, especially if it's a boy, it's very aggressive. To kill in this unbelievable way, it is horrifying. So Musa alayhi salam, when he saw that, he became so absolutely furious, so angry. And he said, أَقَتَلْتَ نَفْسًا زَكِيَّةً وفي قراءة قتلت نفسا زاكية بغير نفس, a pure soul. And that's again show you that this is not an adult, and that's what I believe this was a boy. Okay, and he was very angry. He said, for no reason, بغير نفس, and even this person didn't kill anyone, and you just killed him for no reason. A pure soul, الزاكية التي لم تذنب, يعني a soul that did not commit a sin yet, because if you are a child, you're not held accountable for anything. الأطفال تكتب حسناتهم ولا تكتب سيئاتهم. Kids, they get all the rewards, but they don't get any sin. كذا العلماء رحمه الله الفقهاء said. Then he said, لقد جئت شيئا what? نكرا. He said, you have done an evil act, something known to be so wrong. Nukra is a very, very strong word, which it means something absolutely unacceptable. It comes from the munkar, yani evil. Why? In the beginning he said imra, something strange, something unacceptable. But here he said it's absolutely evil. So the second one is more stronger. That's right. His objection is much stronger than the first. Can somebody tell me why? He felt this is absolutely wrong. Why this time is absolutely wrong? Because the first one, قالوا مظنة الوقوع. The first one, the hall, could lead to the drowning of some people in the ship, and they could survive. So the death was not absolute, but this one, it's absolute. He just killed the man in front of him. Number two, what he did, he basically destroyed the property of someone, but now he killed the child of someone. Which one is worst? That's why his reaction was absolutely strong, much stronger than the first one. Because the ship, as Zamakhshari said, the ship can be fixed. But how can you fix this boy after killing him? Unfixable. Some Mufassirin said the opposite. Said Imra is higher than Nukra. And that's not a very strong argument. Not strong linguistically, nor make no sense. Why? They said because the first one can cause and lead to the death of many, while the next one is only the death of one. But that's not a very good argument. But just it's out there. Some of the ulama rahimahullah said that. قال ألم أقل لك إنك لن تستطيع معي صبري. Didn't I tell you would never be able to patient? I will read the both. In the first one he said, إنك, he said, ألم أقل إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا. Here he said, ألم أقل لك إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا. In the second one he added the word لك. Didn't I tell you? In the first one, didn't I say you will not be able to be patient? Here he said, didn't I tell you you will not be able? You. Now he became more aggressive, Al-Khadr, against him. He can't take that, breaking his promises every time. أوكد للعتاب. So, the first time, Al-Khadr don't want to confront Musa. He said, didn't I say you can't be patient? Now he became like directed the speech to him. Lak, did I say to you, you will not be able to be patient with me? Because this is different Sharia. This is different. He coming from complete different perspective. Musa's Sharia says you cannot kill someone without a valid excuse. He couldn't understand why would someone do like that. وهنا موسى استحيا في الله. When he said this to him, I told you, the Nabi sallallahu said he feels shy for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He couldn't have any answer. He doesn't have like, for God, there is no khalas. For God once, gone. He couldn't make any excuse for himself. Then he said, what must be said. He said, last chance. Give me one more time. في مصر يقولون الثالثة تبتة. In Egypt they said, the third one is the absolute one. Okay, and if give me 3 chances. After that there is no more chances. Then he said, خلاص, if I do anything like this again, you are excused to leave me. And if you notice, he didn't ask for forgiveness. Not like the first one. The first one he said, forgive me. لا تؤاخذني. In the second one, he didn't ask for forgiveness. Because he has no excuse. No reason for it. Okay? And that's what Al-Khadr have warning him. فكانت الأولى نسيانا والثانية شرطا. The second one was a condition between both of them. Okay. Then they set out until when they come to people of town. هؤلاء الناس في القرية very stingy. Oh my God, stingy people are like weird, man. يقول ابن القيم رحمه الله أشقى الناس البخلاء يعيشون عيشة الفقراء ويحاسبون حساب الأغنياء. What a loser. You live in the dunya like faqir, poor, and in the akhirah you judge like rich. They said there is a guy who's so stingy, was drowning in the water, in the sea. So they reach out to him to get him out of he's drowning. So when he's so the guy said, give me your hand. So immediately he pulled back because he heard the word give me. So the other guy, he knew him. He said, I know how to get him out. How? He said, take my hand. So he that's what it does. I also tell the story of a man who's so stingy. Somebody purchased something from his grocery store. And when he gave him the dirham ran away, fallen down and started rolling and get into the gutter, and he lost it. He was so overwhelmed by losing that little bit of that dirham, tiny dirham, and he fainted. So the people tried to wake him up, one of the way to wake someone up was fainted. I'm not sure, Dr. Musa and Dr. Ishfaq, if this has any base. In where I came from, they take an onion and they break the onion and they let them smell the onions and they wake up. Is this any base for that? Has what? Okay. Yeah, I know. That's why it's also make you cry. Yeah. That's the only thing making me cry in my house. Anyway, so anyway, they got one onion, they broke the onion, they give it to him, and he wake up. He said, "What happened?" They said, "You lost the dirham and you fainted. Then we got this onion and we wake you up by smelling it. Where do you got it from?" They said, "From your store." He fainted again. So stingy people are amazing. It's really terrible thing. So those people are very stingy to the extent, and شوف يا اخوان, يعني it's unimaginable. And that's what made Musa so angry at those people. أتيا أهل قرية. The whole entire village, not a single one of them willing to host the guest. You imagine there is 1, 2, 3 homes, houses, members in the community, but the whole entire community is stingy. That's something so bad, so evil. Okay? It's really, and I want you to keep this in your memory. Qarya, village, that small village. The word qarya, it means small village. Keep that description in your memory, okay? In your short memory. Okay. Then he said, because they are very stingy, they are not hospitable people, and they asked him for food, didn't even offer food, they asked him. فَأَبَوْا أَن يُضَيِّفُوهُمَا. They refused to give them any kind of hospitality. And that shows you that hospitality and offering food to the people who need it, especially travelers, is something known from a very long time in the history to be a good quality. Anyway, then they saw this jidar, this wall, which is tilting, basically about to fall. So immediately Al-Khadr said to Musa, "Come, let's fix it." And they fix it and they make it straight and they make it strong. Then Musa alayhi salam said, "You should have asked from them to pay you back. Since they are so stingy, they don't do anything like for free. We shouldn't do also this for free for them. Maybe they should give us money, food at least, in return." And this is, if you notice, is not an objection, as Al-Qurtubi rahimahullah said. It's just a suggestion. That's what Al-Qurtubi rahimahullah said. But Ibn Atiyah, which is a great scholar of tafsir, said no. It was actually in suggestions, but it entailed that sense of objection, as if he's saying, you know what, you should have not done this, you should have done that. Tarakt al-awla, you didn't do the best of option, which is to charge them for that, to teach them a lesson. And because of this, Al-Khadr alayhi salam considered that he broke the promise, khalas. Because he didn't forget, there's no excuse for him. He made a condition upon him that if he asks anything else, he will be, basically, this journey will come to an end. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "May Allah forgive Musa." I wish that he was patient a little bit more to know more of the story of Al-Khadr and learn more from this incident. Then he said, "This is the day where we depart from each other's. And I will teach you about all this, what happened between us." By the way, this verse, فَوَجَدَ فِيهَا جِدَارًا يُرِيدُ أَن يَنْقَضَّ فَأَقَامَ. They found, basically, in this village, let me see how he translates that exactly. So they refused to offer them hospitality, and they found therein a wall about to collapse. So Al-Khadr restored it. Not about to collapse, want to collapse. So the verse in the Quran, the wall wants to collapse. يريد أن ينقض. So this is the most famous verse that some scholar used to prove that there is something it called majaz fil Quran, metaphor in the Quran. This is the biggest evidence that they have. This is the number one example that they bring. They said because the wall has no irada, the wall has no, it doesn't want, this is a metaphor, as if the wall, like a human being, have the intention or want to collapse. Okay? So they said that's a metaphor because it's impossible to be real. And some ulama, rahimahullah, deny the concept of metaphor in the Quran completely. They said there is no metaphor in the Quran, and some of them went farther to say there is not a metaphor in Arabic language completely. كأبي إسحاق الإسفرايني وأبو بكر ibn Muhammad ibn Dawood al-Asbahani and others. And Shaykh al-Islam bin Taymiyyah rahimahullah, Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah. They are very strict about it. They said there is no such thing called metaphor in the Quran. There is maybe tashbih, or there is tashbih, they said, which is, we call it in English, resembling, like, there is a word that we use in analogy, all this work, but no, there's a word, I have it in my, you guys, when you start talking, I forgot what it was. You have the metaphor and, what the other word? No, metaphor. What's another word for metaphor? No. No, irony. That's not the irony. Tashbih. Like when you say he's like a lion. No. Okay, it will come. It's just not coming into my head right now. Anyway, so the metaphor, they said that there's no metaphor in Arabic language completely, and there are very few, but there is, Shaykh al-Islam rahimahullah specifically fought and Ibn al-Qayyim against metaphor in the Quran and in the Hadith of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the Deen. كان شيخنا الشيخ عبد الرزاق رحمه الله يقول ما أشبه شيخ الإسلام بابن حزم. In this area, Ibn Taymiyyah sounds like Ibn Hazm. Ibn Hazm deny a concept in Sharia, it's called qiyas, analogy. He said qiyas, analogy, is not a source, is not exist in Sharia. So Shaykh Abdul Razzaq used to say, Ibn Hazm deny qiyas with qiyas. Yani he deny analogy using analogy. And he said Ibn Taymiyyah deny metaphor with metaphor. Yani he contradicted himself. And to be honest with you, I found Shaykh al-Islam bin Taymiyyah rahimahullah agreed in many places in my own research. Ibn al-Qayyim always quoted Ibn Taymiyyah, there is no majaz. He has some statement to deny the majaz. But I also personally found Ibn Taymiyyah used and approved the existence of majaz, metaphor, in many of his books. And I can reference just one of them I consider is the best reference in this area. And one of my favorite reference or passage that I teach from when I teach this concept, it is in his book Al-Risalah Al-Madaniyah, Shaykh al-Islam bin Taymiyyah rahimahullah. He have said about metaphor what I think is the bottom line in this subject. Anyway, we're not going to go into details, but among the ulama who said there is no metaphor in the Quran, specifically Ash-Shawkani rahimahullah. Some said no, there is no metaphor when it comes to Allah's attributes and names. That's it. You cannot say when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for example, said that He has a face or He has a hand, you don't say it's a metaphor or it means power. That's unacceptable. But metaphor in outside the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because if you open this door, you're going to end by saying Allah's existence, it is a metaphor. And if you talk about not only Allah and al-ghayb, the unseen in general, everything metaphor became problem. That's why you have the batiniyah reach to the level that they said everything is a metaphor. Even there is no Jannah, there is no hellfire, there is nothing real. Everything, it is just a metaphor. So they closed this door. Anyway, I'm not going to go into the details of al-majaz. That's not the right setting for it. But I want to say the argue that Ibn Taymiyyah used, and those who deny metaphor, they said, why you have to say that al-jidar, the wall, has no irada, because the Quran said it wants to collapse. He said, what's wrong with that? Because you're going to say, oh, but the wall cannot possess will. Then Ibn Taymiyyah will tell you, who told you that? Who said that the wall cannot possess will? He said, common sense, that's your sense, not my sense. Question, does the wall speaks? You will say no. Does rock speaks and talk? You will say no. He will say, that's not true. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, إذا زلزلت الأرض زلزالها وأخرجت الأرض أثقالها وقال الإنسان ما لها يومئذ تحدث أخبارها. That earth and stones and walls will speak and will talk. Allah said, وَإِن مِّن شَيْءٍ إِلَّا يُسَبِّحُ بِحَمْدِهِ. Everything making tasbih, even that wall making tasbih, glorifying Allah. Then he will argue with this, he will cite that this is his argument. He said, yes, according to what we know, but we don't know everything. Would it appear to us that these are dead things, have no will, have no... But in reality, what's the reality of this creation? How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them is completely different way. That's why in the end the Prophet ﷺ said, I know a rock, every time I pass by it, it used to give me salam. Didn't the Prophet ﷺ hear the trunk of a tree crying? And he hugged it? Does the trunk of the tree have a feeling? So Ibn Taymiyyah is arguing, and his camp will use this evidence to tell you that there is no need for us to say this is a metaphor. We say that's how the Arab speaks. There is another issue, he said. Metaphor is what? Is to use the word فيما لم يوضع له اللفظ أصلا. It used the word to refer to something other than what this description originally made for. So for example, they said, who believe in metaphor, they said in Arabic language, they said, I saw a lion fighting in the battle. What do you mean by a lion? Knight, a brave soldier, that's right. So they said, you use the word lion to the animal to refer to a human being, which is not originally what this lion, the word lion meant for, because there is a common thing between them, which is bravery. Does that make sense? Make sense? So the camp who deny metaphor, he said, who told you that the lion, who told you that the word lion originally made for the lion? Maybe it referenced bravery, then it was used to the lion. You don't have any proof for that. You cannot prove the other way around. And they said, and one of their arguments they will tell you, when Allah taught Adam al-asma, when Allah told Adam al-asma, what Adam was taught in the heavens, taught the concepts. Bravery, honesty. He knows what that means. These meanings, Allah gave him the ability to have word to describe these meanings. While the angels do not have the ability to have meaning to describe these, or words to describe these meanings. And they said languages is made of concept before it was made of words. That's why kids understand concept, then they start understanding words. So that will take us to a very philosophical debate. It's very interesting, Yani, but it's not from the Tafseer, and that's why I don't want to drag in it too much. But it's that's, I want you to be aware of the argue of those who said there is kind of no, they don't believe in metaphor. Because sometimes when you hear that, no majaz fil Quran, some people think that this is nonsense. And actually, it's an opinion and has a very good, valid argue, in my opinion. And it's a very strong point. and they're basically in their position. I don't believe in that position because I do believe in the majority of the fuqaha and the ulama al-balagha that there is a majaz, there's a metaphor. But this majaz has to be basically has certain conditions to meet. And that's what you will see it in that book by Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, Risala al-Madaniyah. He mentioned five conditions for this majaz to be accepted. Ibn Taymiyyah will say we don't call it majaz, we call it uslub min asalib al-lugha. That's how the Arabic language is. I don't probably call it that's how it is, that's how the metaphor. I think it's in the end of the day khilaf lafzi fil haqiqa in the end. Anyway, I was very excited about the next part of the talk because I really spent quite time today looking at the lessons that we can learn from this story, and I came up with about 17 lessons, and I'm really looking forward to share it with you. But inshallah, next week when we talk about the rest of the story and we end the story, then we start talking about next week we'll start talking about inshallah Dhul Qarnayn. And it's amazing how the story of Musa and Al-Khadr came before the story of Dhul Qarnayn. You remember the whole story of Surah Al-Kahf? The Quraysh asked questions, and these questions given to Quraysh by the Jews. That's right. And they asked the Prophet. They never asked him about Al-Khadr. But Allah brought it because He wanted to tell the Jews who tell Quraysh, you should have asked about the one who related to you. Why we ask about Dhul Qarnayn who has nothing to do with you? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put the story of Al-Khadr before the story of Dhul Qarnayn. Al-ulama said, because the story of Al-Khadr and Musa, it's about a man who traveled the world to seek knowledge, while the other one traveled the world for jihad, for qital, for fighting. And al-ilm is higher than anything else. That's why it came first. Came before Dhul Qarnayn. There's a lot of also great stories and great lessons we're going to learn from the story of Dhul Qarnayn, inshallah ta'ala. And hopefully in the next, by November, we will inshallah finish the surah, and after that we start a fresh new class, inshallah ta'ala. Looking forward for next week. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. The floor is open for questions or someone will leave. Yes, go ahead. There's no strangling. They said either he hit him or he slaughtered him. Yani they said the quick death is to strike the neck. So, I mean by sword. That's the quickest thick. This is the most painless death. That's what I know. It's the most painless death is just to cut basically the neck off. But why would he take that graphic? I was wondering myself. I really was wondering, like, why would he do that? But maybe that is provoke Musa even more. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I couldn't think of. Shaykh Kamal, can you think of anything? Yeah, it's make the test harder. In my opinion, just make the test harder. No, Allah giving him a test through Al-Khadr. So the whole thing, it's a trial for Musa alayhi salam. The pen been lifted, is that means from the good deeds and bad deeds? All my life, I understand it's lifted from the bad deeds. So, but I don't recall now a specific research, but all my life that's what I understood. رفع القلم عن ثلاث. Because when you sleep and you have wudu on, You still get the ajr every time you turn left and right. The angels say, Allahumma ghafirullah, Allahumma. You still get the reward of it. If you sleep while you have your intention to, إني لا أحتسب نومتي كما أحتسب قومتي, you have the intention to wake up and to do, you still get ajr for that. So I always thought that lifted from this, to be something to be written against you. But I understand the hadith is general, but that's what my understanding all my life. But I can look into the explanation of the ulama. Very good. He said that the children has no intention to do this as a good deed. But I would disagree. My son Umar is 5 years old, and he really do that because he want to please Allah. He prays. And we tell him, hey, do this for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he does it. So I'm not sure if all, but sometimes the kids just do the right thing without really the intention. They do it because their parents telling them pray or fast or do that. What I just said, it's a very common statement by the ulama, rahimahumullah. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and I think this came from qawl al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam about the hajj of the boy. قالت ألي هذا حج؟ قال نعم ولك أجره. Yes, and you have the ajr of that boy. So since he said yes, it means that he get ajr of that. It will preserve him. And for me, it sounds like the kafir, when he does good deeds, then became Muslim, and he did bad deeds, then he became Muslim. It's ironically, قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أسلمت على ما أسلفت من الخير. Yani everything good you did before Islam will be written for you. And anything bad you done before Islam, it's forgiven by Islam. So he gain and he never lose. So that's how I see it. Yes.
Follow up on this concept. When we perform a good deed without proper intention, is that recorded as a good deed?
Sisters, you also can open the door and ask a question if you have. Muhammad is asking me, if you do an action and you don't have the proper intention, it is still considered a good deed. What do you mean by that?
I mean, no, what I mean is if you perform a good deed without seeking pleasure of Allah.
Yani without seeking the pleasure of Allah. Let's say you go to the washroom and you just start washing your hands and you have no intention at all is to make wudu. Because the word intention has two meanings. Intention as the opposite of accidental. And intention, which is the opposite, it means sincerity. So that's why the confusion comes. So if you do it accidentally, you don't have no intention, there's no reward for it. But if you do it intentionally, purposely, I'm doing it, and here you do it for Allah, but sincerity is not one level, it's like hundreds of levels. So the only way I imagine it without anything from these levels, if you do it and you do it for other than the sake of Allah. But if you do it for the sake of Allah, the more you have sincerity in it, the more you get the reward. And that's why the second part of the concept of intention covered by ulama al-aqaid. And the first part of the intention, which is talk about the opposite of accidental act, covered by the fuqaha, the jurist. So, and the first one, which is al-ikhlas, sincerity, and you do this to please Allah for the pleasure of Allah, maratib mutafawita la ya'lamuha illa Allah. For make wudu, for example, I'll give you an example. I make wudu, and my purpose, I'm making wudu intentionally to pray. I get the ajr of the wudu. But it will never be like someone making wudu and I imagine washing my sins away. I'm doing this because I know I'm going to be, Ya Rab, want to be pure in front of you in the salah. I want to look good, to smell good. See, all this thinking and thoughts, that's another level of ajr. الله سبحانه وتعالى يرزقنا وإياكم هذا يا رب. طيب، جزاكم الله خير. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.